The world tells you
Nice guys finish last. That agreeable people get walked over, chewed up, and spat out by a world that rewards sharks. You've heard it 1,000 times. Be ruthless, be dominant, be the loudest voice in the room, or get buried beneath it.
But what if that entire narrative is wrong?
What if the very trait you've been told to suppress is actually the one thing that gives you an unshakable advantage? Stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you might change how you see yourself and everyone around you.
Let's start
With what agreeableness actually is. In psychology, there's a model called the Big Five. It breaks human personality into 5 core dimensions: openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, neuroticism, and agreeableness. Agreeableness measures how much you prioritize social harmony, cooperation, and the emotional needs of others. If you score high, you tend to be warm, empathetic, trusting, and willing to compromise. If you score low, you lean more towards skepticism, competition, and blunt self-interest.
Now here's where most people get it wrong.
They hear agreeable, and they think pushover. They think doormat. They picture someone who can't say no, who folds under pressure, who smiles while the world takes advantage of them. But that's a cartoon version of the trait. Agreeableness isn't about being weak. It's about being attuned. It's the difference between someone who can't fight and someone who chooses not to. High agreeableness doesn't mean you lack a spine. It means you have the emotional bandwidth to consider other people without losing yourself in the process. And that distinction matters more than you think. So, why does the modern world punish this trait? Look around. Social media algorithms reward outrage, not nuance. The loudest, most provocative voices get amplified. Thoughtful, measured, kind responses get buried. Hustle culture glorifies the grind, the ruthless entrepreneur who sleeps 4 hours a night and views every human interaction as a transaction. We've built entire industries around teaching people to be more aggressive in negotiations, more cutthroat in business, more emotionally detached in relationships. And then there's the corporate world. The mythology of the boardroom says that leaders need to be dominant, decisive, and unyielding. We celebrate CEOs who rule with an iron fist, and we write books about them. Meanwhile, the manager who builds deep loyalty, who resolves conflicts before they explode, who creates an environment where people actually want to show up to work, that person rarely makes the cover of Forbes. Dating culture has the same blind spot. Men are told that being agreeable is unattractive, that kindness signals weakness. Women are told that being too accommodating makes them easy to exploit. We've somehow convinced an entire generation that emotional intelligence is a liability in love. And that might be the most damaging myth of all. But here's what's actually happening beneath the surface, the part nobody talks about. Agreeable people are quietly winning. Not in the flashy, look-at-me way that social media celebrates. They're winning in the ways that compound over decades.
Let's talk about trust.
Trust is the most undervalued currency in modern life. Careers aren't built on talent alone, they're built on relationships, and relationships are built on trust. Research consistently shows that agreeable individuals are more likely to be trusted by colleagues, clients, and partners. When people trust you, they refer you, they vouch for you, they choose you for opportunities that never get posted publicly. While the aggressive networker is burning through contacts, the agreeable person is building a web of genuine allies who actually pick up the phone when they call.
Then there's emotional intelligence.
Agreeable people don't just understand emotions, they navigate them. They can walk into a tense meeting and read the room before a single word is spoken. They know when to push and when to hold back. They sense what someone needs to hear versus what they want to hear. This isn't softness. This is a superpower. In a world drowning in noise, the ability to truly listen and respond with precision is extraordinarily rare and extraordinarily valuable.
And let's talk about conflict resolution.
Disagreeable people win arguments. Agreeable people resolve them. There's a massive difference. Winning an argument means someone loses, and people remember losing. Resolving a conflict means both sides walk away feeling heard, and people remember that too. Over time, the person who resolves conflicts accumulates something that no amount of aggression can buy: a reputation for fairness. And that reputation opens doors that force can never break down.
Here's perhaps the most powerful advantage of all:
Quiet influence. We obsess over charisma, over the person who dominates a room with sheer force of personality. But research on leadership effectiveness tells a different story. Some of the most influential leaders in history weren't the loudest. They were the ones who made other people feel seen, heard, and valued. Agreeable leaders create psychological safety. Their teams take more risks, innovate more freely, and stay loyal longer. The quiet influencer doesn't need to demand respect. They earn it repeatedly through consistency and genuine care.
So here's the reframe.
Agreeableness isn't a weakness you need to overcome. It's a strategic asset you need to sharpen. The key word is sharpen, because raw agreeableness without boundaries is indeed a vulnerability. But agreeableness paired with self-awareness, with clear boundaries, with the wisdom to know when kindness serves you and when it doesn't, that is an unstoppable combination.
The world doesn't need more
Sharks, it has plenty. What it desperately needs are people who can build trust in a trust-starved era, who can bridge divides when everyone else is picking sides, who can lead without leaving a trail of resentment behind them. If that's you, stop apologizing for it. Stop trying to sand down the very edges that make you powerful.
You've been told your whole life
That your kindness is a flaw, that your empathy makes you vulnerable, that your willingness to cooperate puts you at a disadvantage. They were wrong, and deep down, you already knew that.
But here's the part
That should unsettle you. The reason agreeable people are told they're weak isn't because it's true, it's because agreeable people are genuinely threatening to systems built on dominance. A person who can earn loyalty without fear, who can influence without manipulation, who can lead without coercion, that person makes the entire power structure nervous. And nervous systems don't say, "You're dangerous," they say, "You're soft." Don't believe them.